Hello, adventurers, and welcome to the third December Random Adventurers podcast, and our third in our video series. If you like these video series, please hit the like button so that we know we're doing something right. Also, don't be afraid to comment and so on so that we know what we're doing is right. So, I'm here with my usual co-hosts, Ranger Liz and Lord Brian.
Hello.
All right, so today we have a very special podcast. I'll be talking to you about
your enemies.
the holiday figures of Father Christmas, aka Saint Nick, Father Winter, and Claus, or Kringle, and his eternal opposite, the Krampus, and how to integrate them into a World of Darkness, Exalted, or Pathfinder/D&D game.
I would describe Krampus as the opposite of Kringle. He's Kris Kringle's, the stick he uses for the naughty kids.
Yes. He deals with the nice, Krampus deals with the naughty. Brian, what are you going to be covering today?
I'm going to be talking about the Paladin class specifically, but it's also going to fall into roleplay issues that come up with lawful good characters in general.
All right. And Liz, what have you got for us?
I spent a lot of time thinking, and I think I'm going to end up talking about designing your character's personality.
Ooh.
When making a character.
We'll look forward to hearing that. So, Brian, why don't you start us off this week?
Well, I was thinking about the Paladin as I was leaving last week, and one of the things that I don't know exactly how common it is in actual playgroups, but at least one of the stereotypical issues with the Paladin or other lawful good characters is there's two roleplay issues that tend to crop up with those. People either portray the Paladin as the lawful stupid or stupid good character, that traditional just stick in the mud character, overly do-gooder kind of character, or they portray him as the Templar. The Templar being a kind of character who,
overzealous.
They take the ideology of that lawful good thing of their ideology to such an extreme that almost everyone is not good enough to meet it. Great examples of those type of character of the Templar characters. If you've seen Serenity, the operative in Serenity, or most of the characters in the Equilibrium movie, those would be your traditional Templars. Now, specifically, the reason why I want to talk about this is Paladins don't have... I think a lot of people shy away from the Paladin class because of these issues, and they don't really have to be there. We had a character in one of our campaigns who played it like that your stick-in-the-mud type character, and he was also using the Book of Exalted Deeds, which just heightened that and made it even a little bit worse, even though, again, these aren't some things... And even if you had read the Book of Exalted Deeds, they go into ways in which the Paladin doesn't have to be that. But it causes... it creates a stale character. Plus, in that situation, it caused a major dysfunction in the group. To the point when the person role-playing the character, after he'd flaked out for 3-4 weeks or something like that, the party took righteous vengeance on that character. We killed him, brought him back to life, killed him again, brought him back to life, killed him again, and then set him on fire. I don't remember everything that character did badly in that one, but I know he was the character who, because he had used the Book of Exalted Deeds, specifically the Vow of Poverty feat, he was giving away all of his shares of everything, and he was kind of expecting us to donate at least a portion. He was pretty much expecting us to tithe. And there was a few other issues we took with his character. So, I mean, that really didn't work out well. And one other thing I wanted to describe to really exemplify the Paladin, the way it goes bad and the way it can be done really, really well, is for those who have read The Order of the Stick. I know you have,
Yep.
Liz. Have you read it?
No, I've started, but I haven't been.
Well, you're only 1,000 pages behind that.
Yes.
Very early in the series now, because it's, as I said, it's like 900 and something, and this happened in like pages 200. The group encounters a paladin, and this was after they had destroyed one of the gates. They've been finding out and things like that, and this character was arresting the group, and was taking her back to her home city to try them. This was she started off as kind of like stick and mud, but slowly morphed into the Templar. The perfect opposite to that, instead of playing it like the Templar, and unfortunately 3.5 kind of favors that Templar a little bit because of the way Smite Evil works, and the way they have their the way Detect Evil works. It gives the Paladins a little bit of, in 3.5 at least.
3.5 and earlier.
3.5 and earlier gives them kind of unlimited license to go, oh, evil smite, without regards to whether or not the person's even done anything wrong that the Paladin knows of. But a perfect opposite of that is there's a character Ochu in it. He gets captured by the series Big Bad, and he actually has a series of conversations with
the monster hidden in the dark.
Yeah, the monster hidden in the dark. He has a series of conversations with him, and his conversations, he never breaks from his good nature, but he's never overly self-righteous about it either. And that's the way I think Paladins should be played more often, and it might get people a little more excited about that. The Paladin isn't the stick in the mud; they're the shining beacon. One of the reasons why one of the prestige classes I actually was really interested in 3.5 was the Grey Guard, because it allowed you to be a little bit more of a nuanced character, I felt. And it's one of the reasons why I like what I see in the 5e Paladin, and what I liked about the 4th edition Paladin, the way it necessarily doesn't not restrict you to alignment, but doesn't feel overbearing, that restriction to alignment. And plus, the 5e has the Paladin Oaths. So you have the 3 oaths you can have. There's the shining. I have the book right. The Oath of Devotion, which is your shining beacon paladin. The paladin who does things based on example. You're the example that everyone else should strive to be. The Oath of the Ancients, which is something I haven't really read too much about, so I don't know exactly what. They seem a little bit similar to that, but with more of a nature-themed stuff.
Probably more of like your elf paladin.
Yeah. And then the Oath of Vengeance, which is your Grey Guard type paladin. The ones that are but even the Oath of Vengeance still doesn't limit the paladin to having to destroy evil, because they're part of the thing. One of the tenets for the Oath of Vengeance, fight the greater evil. Where in order to fight the greater evil, they have to work with a lesser evil. They're able to do that. A great example for a character who would aspire to the paladin ideal, unfortunately, because it would never make an exciting storyline for the silver screen, it never quite works out too well, is Superman. It's actually gotten to the point where Wizards is actually addressing it in a lot of things, giving you ways to not be that character, because realistically, I mean, if you look at what a paladin can do, every party should want a paladin.
Yeah.
And because of the roleplay stigmatisms the paladin has, I feel like less groups are willing to accept a paladin into the group.
And Liz, why don't you talk to us about nuanced characters some?
Because I was planning on going last, but I suppose I could go next. when you start your character, kind of like what we were talking about with the Paladin, personality counts. And you gotta figure out, like, don't just go with the stereotypical personalities. And you know what? I've actually found that, because normally when you make a character, you start coming up with the background and stuff right away, right?
I usually do, yes.
I unfortunately don't really. That's one of the things I struggle with in a lot of my characters is coming up with a background or anything a lot. So my characters have a tendency to be a series of actions they do.
But do you have fun with those characters?
The ones I have the most fun with are the ones where I actually do create a better background. Because
Okay.
the character I had the most fun with was my amnesiac, angry bear.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I
Yeah,
remember
he
that
was cool.
character.
I played a bear who had short-term memory loss and
Xenophobia.
a
Yes.
xenophobia of the unknown.
And he finger painted.
And he
Artwork.
finger painted, yes.
Great artwork
Yes, masterpiece level Da Vinci stuff.
with finger paint.
Yes, but go on.
Okay, so I guess it kind of depends on the person then. So you might want to consider what works for you. I actually found that making a rough background, not putting a whole lot of detail into it, and then developing my character as I play tends to work better for me than putting a lot of detail into a background and then trying to run with it, because then I feel restricted with what I have, and I start to realize this wasn't really the creative decisions I wanted to actually go with this character.
I think that's why it also helps for a lot of characters to be able to really get into the background of them is when you create a character at level 1 versus create a character at higher levels.
Yeah.
Because then you have to think about what kind of adventures your character might have already gone on. And and again, for me at least, a lot of times it leads to more simplistic characters, which I really not exactly proud of.
And for me, my werewolf character, she wasn't a human. She was a spiker, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's actually what she turned into, or at least that's what she believes. She believes that she was a wolf who became a werewolf who turns into this spiker creature. I kind of gave her, I made her language kind of rough, as if it was common was not her first language. And she didn't really care about perfecting common. There was other things she was more worried about than perfecting her ability to speak common. Although that did create some interesting conversations.
Yep.
And misunderstandings.
If you've ever played the game Chrono Trigger, she sounded just like how you would imagine Aelia to sound.
Yeah, something like that. And I kind of have fun playing characters that I've already made up before and kind of recreating because I already know the personality. But sometimes it's fun taking things that there's kind of a stereotype of, and then ripping that stereotype out and sticking in your own sort of thing. Like my albino Noel. Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
So that's sort of my suggestions is find what works for you. Does it work better to have a bare basic understanding, like with my albino Noel? My bare basic understanding with her was her mom abandoned her because she was like this pure white ball and she didn't know what to think of it. So she abandoned it and she was found by some Paizo monks, I believe it was. And they felt sorry for her and took her back to their temple or abbey or whatever, and they raised her. So she, instead of worshipping the usual Knoll deity, she ended up worshipping Palor. So that made her interesting. And then I developed her character from there. I can't.
Yeah, usually what I find works is I'll write I'll start writing like a 3-paragraph background. Give just one paragraph to, their formative events, a paragraph to what led them to where they are now, and a paragraph about their psyche, who they are on the inside. And I begin to develop that right away.
One other thing that helps if you're still having trouble trying to get into your character's persona, it might depend on the GM. If the GM is not very fond of you writing notes at the table, I'm not exactly sure why. They might not, but if they don't, maybe you'll have to write notes after the game is over. But when you do write notes in your character's words, not your own. Think of how your character is feeling and reacting to things. There was one campaign, every time something happened, I made a note of how my character is feeling about how my character is reacting to this. And I wrote it in her words and her feelings. And that helped bring out her character more.
Yeah. I know I have a few live journal accounts out there that are told from my character's point of views.
Does live journal still exist?
Yes, it does still exist.
Ooh.
Actually,
mine's still around, or if they deleted my account.
I know one of my characters, Jasher, who was in the same campaign as our xenophobic bear. Yes, I actually had his journal written down on live journal.
Oh my goodness, I love that game.
Yeah,
there were so many characters. I loved all the characters in it. I don't
My
think...
character had to make notes.
Yes.
Yes, your character had to make notes. But I love Dave's character. I know he kind of annoyed the rest of you, but his character was this out of control otter that was absolutely hilarious. And then Mike's practically heartless monitor lizard, and then Carolyn's acrobatic ferret that
Weren't you a
really
bat?
I was a bat.
He was a bat. He was a fruit bat.
Yep. A flying fox, as they're called.
I went with a black bear.
Yep.
That was Shard. It was
a lot of fun.
You guys got a lot of role playing, and that's why. I mean, maybe if you're a GM and you're having trouble trying to get people to role play at your table, maybe you're not looking at the right game for your table. Maybe the setting might be right, but you might need to find a new system to work with. You might just take the system and then run with your own story, but you might need to look into other systems if you're having trouble trying to get people to roleplay.
Yeah. I will be giving us a holiday treat. I have prepared a very special document for you that will be posted in the description. You will have a link to a Dropbox account with this document, or a link to this document on my Dropbox. Contained in this document is 4 iterations of one being and his partner, and that is the Krampus. Before there was the Grinch who stole Christmas, there was the Krampus who stole naughty children. The basic idea of the Krampus is, if you look way back in Germanic lore, there is Saint Nicholas, early Christian figure, who would reward children during the winter season for good behavior. But he had a partner that would go with him, the Krampus. Now, if you were just a little naughty, if you were just more naughty than good, but not overly bad, the Krampus, Instead of getting a gift from St. Nicholas, the Krampus would give you coal. If you were really bad, though, then the Krampus would take you and stuff you into his wicker basket and carry you off
Yeah.
in chains to be his slave forever.
See, folks,
Now we
the
know how
Slender
Santa-
Man is not necessarily a new concept.
Yes.
And now we know how Santa got all of his elves.
Funny you should mention that. Now, in the first iteration I'm going to talk about, this is the Exalted second edition with errata, or 2.5 as it's sometimes called. When Exalted 3rd edition comes out, I will push an update to this document that will contain the 3rd edition stats for Krampus. Now, in Exalted's world, St. Nicholas is referred to as Father Winter. And Father Winter is a god of festivities in the north. And every year, he and a second circle demon named Krampus will go around all the cities and villages in the north. And Father Winter, if the child is good, give them a gift. But if the child's parents believe the child to have been naughty and not deserving of a gift, then Krampus will either give them a lump of coal, or if they've been very naughty and the parents actually think that the child is beyond redemption, then he will take the child away.
What if the parents? What if the parents are just naughty and they hate the
Yeah! What horrible!
Does Krampus take the parents if the parents are bastards?
Nope.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because the Krampus's ability just reads when the Krampus uses its ability to measure the child, it measures based on the parent's perception of the child. He doesn't ask the parent. He intuitively senses it.
So if the parent is
What if the parent? Oh, I'll let you go.
is a drunk who hates his kids and would rather see them dead, the Krampus would come and take the kids away.
No, I don't think that would happen.
No, that wouldn't happen.
But what if the parent is a deadbeat drunk who's upset over how much of a nerd their child is? Will the Krampus take away the nerd kid?
If the parent believes that something about being a nerd is evil or wicked, then yes.
Okay.
But just lazy, the Krampus would just give them a lump of coal. Okay.
Continue on.
But here's some quick...
We need someone to enforce the Krampus.
But that's the job of Father Winter. Is he and Krampus always travel together.
Okay.
So if Krampus starts going off the rails, Father Winter can shut him down. Now, these two are bonded. So if one dies, the other dies.
Aww.
This prevents Krampus from turning on Father Winter and just killing him.
Doesn't prevent my character from killing Krampus, though.
So,
Screw Christmas.
here's some plot hooks for Exalted. The first is, recently, every city and town that Krampus has visited, more and more children are declared naughty and taken away than should have been.
Really? Are we really sure, or are the parents just lame?
That's up for you, the players, to figure out.
I think the parents are just
But what's
lame.
going to be the encounter? Are we going to battle Krampus?
And at the end of the story, you will battle Krampus.
What if we accidentally kill Krampus?
Then the Hogfather dies. I'm sorry. I mean, Santa.
Yeah. Father Winter.
It's one heck of a moral dilemma.
Dude, if I play that game, I'd totally play Mr. Tio Timer.
Okay. Second plot hook. Krampus has stolen away the children of a powerful, strapiary lord. This lord is at his wit's end. You know, being a dragon-blooded, he only has so much power and so much ability.
But he judged his kids to be naughty.
No, he didn't.
So it's all these things are Krampus going off the rails.
All these past two have been Krampus appearing to go off the rails.
Okay.
He wants his children back.
Okay.
He's at his wit's end. He has finally decided to cross the ultimate line that every member of the dragon-blooded hierarchy has sworn they would never cross.
Ask a Solar for help?
Exactly.
Okay.
So he is asking Anathema to help him get his children back.
I think I might want to play the third situation if I have an idea what it is.
Okay. And for the third situation, for the first time since before even the first stage, when these two have started going out on their trips, Krampus has not shown up.
Yeah!
Woo! Why is that bad?
Because all the bastard kids get to be bastards with no punishment.
And Father Winter can't make his trip to reward the good children.
Why?
Because all the bastard kids are stealing from the good kids.
Because that's part of the agreement.
Krampus has to go with him.
He can't reward the good kids if Krampus isn't there to punish the bad kids.
I have an idea.
So hold on, let me finish the plot hook.
We're gonna have to be Krampus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, other way around. Krampus. Actually, that is one of them, is that Krampus is asking, Father Winter is asking you to find the Krampus so that he can make his journey.
And the other one is a Krampus asking you
to find Father Winter, because he fears somebody is planning to kill Father Winter.
Aww.
In the world of darkness, we go to the more familiar name, Saint Nick. Now, in the world of darkness, Krampus and Saint Nick are both powerful fairy lords. Now, the hook is, or the catch is that while Saint Nick is busy rewarding all the good children, Krampus is taking the bad children, and normally he replaces them, just like every other changeling, with a dummy that will live out at least a portion of their lives before it expires of apparently natural circumstances.
That's horrible! That's even worse than just stealing the children!
The parents think they have finally a well-behaved child, but instead
a month later, it dies of a heart attack. I'd rather no Krampus took my kid.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have anything that they got their eye on?
Not really, unfortunately.
Liz?
Nope.
We know the release date for the Unleashed beginner box is going to come out in March, so...
Yep. Do we know when the book itself is coming out?
Probably April.
Well, we'll look forward to that book in April.
I'm getting the box.
Yeah, probably. Actually, if you're getting the box, I probably won't, but I'll wait for the book.
Well, the box set actually is a pretty good value. It's like $45.
Yeah, it's $45, and it does contain a stripped-down rulebook.
Correct. Plus miniatures.
Plus miniatures, so I might pick it up, might not.
Okay.
So, our closing question. Coming to us from the Exalted Forum.
Okay.
What, if anything, are you guys excited about with the upcoming release of Exalted 3rd Edition?
My weapons level up with you. That's the only thing. Because I've never been a fan of Exalted.
The biggest thing is the limitations on character creation, so you're not quite as overwhelmed with what to pick, and so you can build your characters a little bit more organically.
As for myself, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is the faster-paced combat, as well as the more nuanced antagonist section, where they don't just present what the norm is for whatever the antagonist is, they also present what is the extraordinary, and what also cool kind of things can you do with this. With that, we will wish you, because this video will be coming out on the Saturday before Christmas, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, or a Happy Hanukkah, or whatever your holiday festivity is.
Hanukkah would be over. But, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
For those who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas.
We will see you next week when we give our year-end review. See you all next week, and just remember...
It's not... somebody else's turn to say it.
I don't care if we die. I'm.
Oh,
you can
fine.
kill us for PCs. You can kill off your PCs. Just don't. No TPKs.